Happy Tuesday. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Tuesday. I do want to remind you that even before we get started with today's video, tomorrow Nvidia is set to report earnings. Nvidia is one of the most valuable companies that's publicly traded. And again, it's a very anticipated earnings where a lot of volatility is bound to present itself. If you're a beginner, this would be a great time to stay cash and or to make sure at least to not over leverage yourself. So if there's any form of volatility that turns against you, you later end up regretting it. Normally how it plays out is markets close, Nvidia reports earnings either 5 minutes or 20 minutes after the market closes. And then about 1 hour after, there's a guidance call. It's all according to a schedule. Feel free to look it up. But again, one reaction doesn't support or mean that the second one has to follow in the same direction. Well, let's go ahead and just start sharing our screen so you guys can see exactly what it is that we're looking at. So Nvidia as of right now is trading right around 192, which is approaching a previous high based off of the larger time frame on the day chart, right around 195. Can Nvidia break out and continue to push higher? Of course, anything can happen. That should never be the question. The question you should ask yourself is it a good enough deal that it's worth the risk? Again, there's been a lot of uncertainty with the market, not necessarily saying with Nvidia, but definitely with the market, especially tensions between the US and China. And Nvidia is really trying to capitalize in the Chinese market. So if there are potential opportunities where Nvidia can actually expand and continue to grow in that marketplace, that can be incredibly rewarding for 2026 and their guidance for 2026. But we'll see what they actually end up reporting if they meet market's expectation. Because again, based off of today's close at a $4.69 trillion market cap, it carries a lot of weight and it carries a lot of influence. Although you might not be invested in Nvidia, if Nvidia rallies, it can bring the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 with it because of its influence and how much it makes up of the basket of NASDAQ and the S&P 500. The same thing on the opposite side. If Nvidia, for whatever reason, Nvidia is like a juggernaut, is the way that I like to explain it. When you look at the actual company itself, it's a very well-run business, and it always and has always exceeded market's expectation, at least recently. Now, is this always the way that it's going to play out? No, not necessarily. I wanted to show you, at least with Investing Pro, you can quickly see based off of the time that they reported earnings, the day after, and then the actual price change the day that followed. So again, there has been a few times that Nvidia, although they do exceed expectation, they might not see the most dramatic reaction, but there has been some pretty significant movers. 13% increase, 8% increase, 8% drop, 5% drop. So again, if you want to take the gamble and trade it right before earnings, be my guest. I'm not here to tell you what you can't do. I'm just here to remind you that if you're a beginner, yes, trading before earnings or buying right before earnings does come at a greater form of risk. I'm invested in Nvidia. With that being said, I don't have to be naive and say, yeah, Nvidia is a great buy at $193 per share. Well, that's very easy for me to say because I own it sub $100 per share. So again, I can tolerate the retracement if it actually ends up selling off. So please understand the perspective. Is it an extremely good deal based off of if markets begin to sell off, then Nvidia will most likely sell off as well in the months that follow. Not saying that it will, just saying that if we do enter any form of retracement or pullback, Nvidia is also likely to retrace and pull back. And knowing that it's nearly at all-time highs, it's not that it can't push higher. That should never be the question. It's, is it worth the risk? What is your potential for profit? 10% based off previous highs. And what's your potential for loss? Well, based off previous support range or current support range, it's right around 170. It's about 11%, a 1-to-1 ratio. That meets your criteria, that's on you. Now, that doesn't mean that it has to stop there. There's obviously a lot more downside potential if things do get worse before they get better. And that's kind of the question to ask yourself. What's your outlook or opinion for 2026? Do you think that Nvidia will thrive, or do you think that overall markets are overbought, due for a correction, and if market's correct, then so will Nvidia. And then at that point, that supports the case of maybe not going too aggressive or don't over leverage yourself with Nvidia right before it reports earnings. With that being said, as many of you guys saw today, there's a State of Union address, and this is when Trump went live and began to pretty much kick off the second year of his second term for 2026. Now, just, agree to disagree on some things that were said. I'm not here to get political with any of you guys. A lot of people began sharing this post with me of like, President Trump says that tariffs will replace federal income tax. Trust me, when he campaigned on this, it got my attention as well. And who else would want to support this more than those that pay a lot in tax? No question. When you do the math, and again, I encourage you, look it up yourself. I would love the idea of tariffs replacing income tax. Because even if tariffs do end up increasing the price of consumer goods, at least you get to control and choose what you choose to pay more for. Versus income tax, you have a 40 to 50% partner that takes no risk, but takes 40 to 50% of all of your profits. Make sense? With that being said, in 2025, statistically speaking, I think we collected a little south of $200 billion in tariff revenue. Just an example. If you look up how much we collected in federal income tax, it was nearly $3 trillion, right under $3 trillion. It's a deficit or a discrepancy of right around $2.4 to $2.6 trillion in what they would need to make up in tariff revenue. So again, just looking at the numbers, it's not practical. I wish it could happen. I love the idea. But at the end of the day, it's important to acknowledge the difference between an idea and a really pretty headline versus reality. And to me, this is unfortunately a gimmick to convince the uneducated. And it's gotten my attention before, but then when you begin to dig a little bit deeper into the numbers, I just wish there was more of like a plan of not just saying, and we plan to replace tariffs with federal income tax, but a plan of action on how we actually plan to do so. Because at least in my lifetime, it doesn't seem like that will be likely. Again, I love the idea, but the idea is not reality, right? Again, just wanted to acknowledge it. On top of that, Trump demands a ban on insider trading, and Dems stand up and clap. This was actually something that surprised me. He obviously called out Nancy Pelosi as well as being one of the head of the people that do a lot of insider trading. The part that I don't understand with this is, first off, I don't believe any politician or anybody in power with any form of, connection to our government should be able to invest in anything other than maybe the NASDAQ or the S&P 500. Just keep it very diverse, right? The thing that I don't understand is how he can stand up there and begin to point the finger to someone like Nancy Pelosi, while we all know moments before his second term as president, he started a crypto business. And then he began to go into power as the president of the United States and pass all this legislation that enriched himself, his family, and the business that he's affiliated with. That is a direct conflict of interest. And at the end of the day, if anyone is voted into power, I think it's super simple. There should be no actual monetary gain that you or your family are able to partake in when it comes down to you being put in one of the highest or the highest seat in the world as the president of the United States. So again, don't get me wrong. I completely agree and do not support the case of Nancy Pelosi or any politician being allowed to trade, period. But I also think it's hypocritical to be pointing the finger at other people when you know very well that your family is paving the way for Bitcoin or for crypto while you are enriching yourself as you pass legislation to make that process possible. Again, it's hypocritical. That's the only thing that I wanted to highlight. On top of that, while we're talking about Bitcoin or crypto, I want to remind you that Michael Saylor, the guy that runs MicroStrategy, is down $9 billion, if I'm not mistaken, on his current holdings. And Tom Lee from BitMine is now currently down $8 billion, over 50% on his Ethereum holding. Again, a great reminder. And I think this is great as we enter a time where markets might be a little elevated. Don't be afraid to be invested. You should never be afraid to be invested in whatever your heart desires long term. But just do it with money you actually have. Don't use leverage. the reason, especially in the crypto market, that so many people are getting liquidated. You often see that headline, what was it? Like 100,000 crypto traders have been liquidated in the past 24 hours. Why are so many crypto traders being liquidated? Very simple. These crypto platforms offer insane leverage. Some of you guys might have seen it where some of them offer up to 40x leverage. That means that there is a pretty much stop loss where you get margin called and forced to liquidate. It's your liquidation price. And at that point, you pretty much lose everything of the money that you put in because they're using your money as pretty much what you're able to lose and then leverage their money to leverage in the position and hope that it goes in your favor. Leverage is a terrible thing when direction turns against you, especially with a speculative asset. Do not borrow money when investing either during an uncertain time or a speculative asset. That simple. If you believe in Bitcoin, I believe that as an American, you have every right to buy any speculative asset that your heart desires, regardless of what my personal opinion about it is. But again, buy it with money you actually have and that you can actually afford to lose. So even if Bitcoin does go from $60,000 to $5,000, yeah, it sucks, but if you really do believe in these cycles, then can you tolerate the time that it might take for it to recover? At that point, you don't have to worry about getting liquidated or being forced to sell, right? Because you can't get margin called if it's money you actually have. Super simple, especially in a market full of greed. I really hope that this motivates you not to be scared, but simply to be calculated and not over leveraged during an uncertain time. I'll do my part in keeping you guys most up to date. And again, if you want to watch me trade live tomorrow, it's the second link in the description down below. And we'll see you at market open for our live trading session. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.